Happy day students. This session we will learn about cloud computing principles. In general, cloud computing is an environment that provides pooled resources through internet technologies. Cloud computing provides pooled resources. So what are the resources? The resources ranges from the data storage till the servers. We can store the data in the cloud, and we can also take the applications that is used to store the data from the cloud, and the application that we use can also be created using cloud from the cloud software platforms, and we can manage all these using the virtual desktop that is available in the cloud. And above all these, we can create a full stack IT project using the servers that are available in the cloud network. So when we say the full stack IT development, we do not require any physical resources in the office premises. Everything can be managed over the network in the cloud. So this cuts the cost of the investment for the startups as well as for the large organizations. Let us look into how this cloud computing technology evolved. It started from grid computing, where the large problems are solved using multiple computers working together on it using parallel computing. From this, we moved on to utility computing. Utility computing is where the resources used are metered, that is, we pay for the resource that we use in the network. From this, we moved on to software as a service, that is, the softwares are provided over the network. So we will pay for the usage of the software. When the cost of the software is expensive, no need to buy it, we can use it and pay only for that, and the software is provided to the users through the network. From this paved the way for cloud computing. So in cloud computing, what we do is any IT service is provided anytime, anywhere through the internet access. Now let us move on to the definition of cloud computing. Cloud computing is a model for enabling universal, convenient, on-demand network access to a shared pool of configured computing resources that can be rapidly provisioned and released with a minimal management effort or service provider intervention. That is, the services are available anytime in a pooled resource center, and those are provided over the network connections. And to make use of these connections, no need to interact with any of the humans in the other end. Now let us move on to the basics principles of cloud computing. So we will learn about the 5-4-3 basics of cloud computing. 5 essential characteristics, 4 deployment models, 3 service offering models. The 5 essential characteristics are on-demand self-service, broadband network access, resource pooling, rapid elasticity, and measured services. So what is on-demand service? On-demand self-service is on requirement, the resources are provided with less or no human interaction with the service provider. Next comes the broad network access, that is, the services or the capabilities of the cloud are provided to the users through standard network technologies for serving various types of devices, right from thick devices to thin devices. A thick device is a high-end computing system, whereas a thin device is like a PDA, that is personal digital assistants. The tablets or the mobile phones that we use are termed as thin devices. So any of these devices can be used to access the cloud resources. Next comes the resource pooling, that is, the provider's resources are pooled together to serve multiple consumers using multi-tenant model, and these resources are allocated and reallocated based on the requirements of the clients. Next comes the rapid elasticity. Rapid elasticity is the resources used by the users can be increased all of a sudden to scale out and also released immediately to scale in, that is, it can be deallocated once the requirement is over. Next comes the measured service, where the capabilities are monitored, controlled and reported for both the users and the cloud service providers for transparency. So, this helps us to pay as we use. Next, we will move on to the 4 deployment models. The 4 deployment models are public cloud, community cloud, private cloud and the hybrid cloud. Now, we will move on to the architecture of these deployment models. In cloud, we have 2 ends. One is the service provider and another one is the user. The service provider is the one who will be providing all the resource to the users with cost or without cost. In public cloud, the cloud infrastructure is provisioned to the general public for use by the organization. The organization might be a business, an academia or a government organization, or it could be a combination of these. The cloud center exists in the service provider's premises. The best examples are the Gmail that we use, the Google Drive or the G Suite that we use are all come under this. Here we have mentioned few of the public cloud service providers, and it is Amazon Elastic Cloud Computing, Microsoft Azure, IBM's Blue Cloud, Sun Cloud, Google Cloud and social media platforms. All these are examples for the public cloud. So, any user can access the resources using the internet connection. Next comes the community cloud. The cloud infrastructure is shared by several organizations that have the same concern or similar concern. So, the concerns here might be the service they provide, the missions or the goals of the organization or the security requirement of the organizations. Based on these, the community is created and the community cloud will serve the required services for the community. And these clouds may be managed in premises or off premises, or it can be managed by the organizations or may also be managed by a third party vendor. An example for this community cloud is Indian Banking Community Cloud that provides an ecosystem that is fully dedicated for banking and financial service community. Next, we have the private cloud. The private cloud is the one that is owned by a single organization. So, an organization will have its own cloud to manage the resources between various businesses or various branches. The cloud can be owned by the organization or it might be maintained by a third party vendor, but the cloud services are provided only for that organization and the outsiders or a common public cannot access that cloud. Examples are HP Data Center, Microsoft Elastra and Ubuntu. So, Microsoft provides 2 types of clouds. One is the public cloud for the customers and another one is their own private cloud where they will manage their own data. That is what is Elastra private cloud is. Or it also provides private cloud service for the private cloud customers. Hybrid cloud infrastructure. The cloud infrastructure is the composition of any of the 3 deployment models, that is the public cloud, private cloud and the community cloud. This will bond together by standardized and proprietary technology that enables data and application portability. The best example for hybrid cloud is Netflix, which manages its catalogs and data using AWS and operates its own content in a private cloud called Open Connect. That is, the video content are not shared in the public cloud. It is kept in their own private network. Only the user data are kept in the public cloud. Next, we will move on to the service models. How the capabilities are provided to the users can be categorized into 3. The first one is software as a service, the second one is platform as a service and the third one is infrastructure as a service. In software as a service, the services are provided to the users. That is, the users can only make use of the service. The example for software as a service are Canva, where the designs are available and you can create any invites or posters using that, but you cannot delete a image that is already available in the Canva because it belongs to the cloud service provider, do not belong to the user. And G Suite is also an example where you can make use of all the components inside the G Suite, that is the Gmail, the G Drive, the forms, sheets, documents, anything. We can make use of all those to store the data, but we cannot do any changes in the environment. We can only manipulate the data that we store. And next comes the platform as a service. So, in platform as a service, it provides the platform to create the application. The users are allowed to create the application using the underlying infrastructure that is provided by the service provider. So, no need to invest on buying the software or the operating system. We can just make use of the environment to create the application, to run the application and to deploy the application. So, any user who wants to create an application can create it using this platform as a service, and the service can be deployed in the cloud itself, and the user can make benefits out of it. And example for this platform as a service is the Google App Engine, and the similar service is also provided by Microsoft and Amazon. Infrastructure as a service is the place where the developer do not require any component in his premises. That is, it do not require any physical component. All it requires is a virtual desktop. Through virtual desktop, we can create the servers, we can manage the networks, we can make use of the softwares, the databases, everything that is required to develop a software project. So, everything is available over the cloud, and we can make use of it to run the projects or to create the projects, and this will be useful for the startups where it cuts the cost of investment for the users. Example for IaaS service are Amazon EC2, Google Cloud Platform and Microsoft Azure VM. These are provided as metered service, that is, we will pay only for what we use and for what time we do use it. So, next comes the access control rights. Access control rights is what do we own when we are using the services in the cloud. So, the first one is the setup is organized inside the organization. The first thing is when it is your own organization, everything is under the control of the user, that is in the organization. Right from the network till the application, everything is under the control of the organization. But when it comes to cloud service, so first one is the IaaS service. In infrastructure as a service, right, whatever we rent from the cloud, whatever we use from the cloud are all managed by the user, but the actual physical resources are under the control of the service provider. So, the software that you use and the middlewares, the operating systems, the applications that you create, all these are all under the user's control, but then the actual resources are under the control of the cloud service provider. And when it comes to platform as a service, everything belongs to the cloud service provider other than the application you create and the data that is managed by the application, and these two belongs to the person who created the application, but all other components are under the control of the cloud service provider. And when it comes to software as a service, everything belongs to the cloud service provider. We are only the users of the service. We cannot do any changes with what is provided by the service provider. For example, if you want to have a special security for the data or a extended security for the data that you have in the software as a service, that is not applicable. You have to make use of only the security terminologies that are provided by the cloud service provider. We cannot enable any security service for the data that we have kept under the SaaS service. That is why if there is threat from a mail, they were able to find it out easily because all the data are accessible in the server by a third party. Again with the PaaS service, the data and the application belongs to the user. So, if the user has created a special security management for the data he used, that is applicable, and also it is applicable in IaaS, that is we can have we can make use of the security and identity managements that are required. Now, we move on to a special type of service, that is anything as a service. So, we said the cloud services are categorized into the platform service, software as a service and the infrastructure as a service. But other than these, many things are provided by the cloud nowadays. It can provide a function as a service, it can provide a processing unit as a service, or it can provide a security system as a service, or it provides identity management as a service. There are many services that are available today and all these will fall under the XaaS, that is anything as a service. So, hope this class you learned what are all the 5 basic characteristics of cloud computing, the 4 deployment models and the 3 types of services. With this, you just browse into the Google, Amazon and the Microsoft clouds and try to find out the various deployment models and the services used by these cloud components. Thank you.